The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Yeah. NY born, NY built.
What is up, yo?
Vanilla
Happy
Gorilla,
Sunday,
Big Dog,
another Sunday
Untouchables.
with
Let's
your
go.
favorite
Step in the
hostess
ring like kings
with
of the block.
mostest.
Gorilla grip, Big Dog, never stop. Iron in the veins, no gimmicks, no props. This is hard work, black top and body slops. Ain't no flash, just fists and fake. We run through ropes like we run through
It
gates.
can't be. This is crazy.
You hear that roar? That's the
And if
Empire
nobody at
Shake.
home knows
We
who this
the
guy is, this is the Big Dog. And he did get a tip from the Brooklyn Prodigies earlier on that they had travel issues, but not due to them being scared or anything like that. But oh my gosh, the Vanilla Gorilla and the Big Dog and the Untouchables
Now we run
just
shows
inserted
like the city
themselves
ran
into this
trap
tag team.
elbows harder than a steel trash can. One shot, knock them flat on sight. Two beats bred for the spotlight fight. They can talk tough, bark loud all night, but in the ring, we bite and we bite right. We are untouchables, NY bred. Two fists swinging, leave legends dead. Joey bring the rage, Dave bring the brain. Together we storm like a runaway train. Untouchable, New York style. We don't tap, we make them snap. We don't tap, we make them snap.
Yo, what is up? What is up? Happy Sunday, happy fun day. It is me, the Big Dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. I had to go and see man upstairs, but everything's back. We are back. We apologize for the delay. Little delay there. Oliver, I'll be right with you. Give me 1 second. This is Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. You can find us on all streaming networks, Facebook, Instagram, X, whatever you call us, MBR Radio. So check us out. And right now, we are going to get into our guest. Give me a second. I got to figure this out now. Give me a second. I don't know what I'm doing here, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, that's not what I want. I don't know what I'm doing, so guys, bear with me here. There we go. There we go. Here we go.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
And let's bring him up. Morning, Mr. Oliver. How are you, buddy? Hold on. How you doing, bud?
You got me back. Good. I said good morning. I said almost afternoon. You're running, and it's always something. There's always something that right throws a wrench.
Yesterday, see, we do a podcast. We do the podcast, and then once a month we do a wrestling show from here. So
yeah,
it had to interfere because our producer, we had to sign into it last night.
I had to sign into a different StreamYard account.
Oh yeah. That's what I mean. It's always something. You think it's easy because you've done it before. You have it set up, and then there's always a little wake up.
I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for all the cigars.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But so tell us a little bit about your company and what is your position and how did you get into doing the cigars that you do, sir?
Wow. So United Cigars as a company started in 1901. So a long history. You guys are from New York, so you might recognize, some of the old vintage pictures that you see. United Cigars had built across the country over 3,000 retail locations. So it's just a classic history. United Cigars kind of went away. They were bought out. They actually had purchased Marvel Comics, and then they got bought out in the 60s, and then we kind of revived it in the early 2000s. And I started with the company in 2016, just kind of introducing some of the lines that that are our brands, and then United Cigars turned into a distribution company as well, and we had picked up Selected Tobacco in 2012, which is Atabey, Byron, Bandolero, the Alfonso, the Nelson, and so I started with them in 2016, and really just kind of introducing a lot of the lines. Like La Giana's over. We celebrated 30 years of La Giana just two years ago. But that was more of a a house cigar for David Garofalo, two guys, and then we rolled in the Firecracker. I fell in love with the Firecracker line in our portfolio. I wanted to expand that, kind of update the look and the style of it. And so it was just the Firecracker 1 Vitola 3.5 by 50. We turned that into 3 different wrappers now, so it's available in the Connecticut, Maduro, and Sungrown. And then from there, we've kind of expanded. We distribute for Red Anchor is I say it's a newer line in our portfolio, but that brand started in 1772 in Delft, Holland. So we partnered with the Kellner family on this, and Kellner Boutique family, or the Kellner Boutique Factory, KBF. So Hendrik Kellner, the son of Henke, that family had worked and has worked in tobacco for years and years, and so we were proud to work with them. We put together what I consider is a fantastic blend for really any smoker. That blending, getting into these newer cigars like Red Anchor and Gold Star is another one that we just released last year. For things that I look for when we're working with the actual blenders at the factory. Now I get to dive into the bales and try the different components, but those are the masters. Those are the guys that are putting everything together. So putting these particular lines together, Gold Star and Red Anchor in particular, blending the cigars, really wanted it more delicate on the palate, lots of flavor, but just more of a retro cigar. So hopefully you guys retro and you can experience that. But it has tons of flavor on the palate when you're smoking it. But if you're able to retro and you're able to blow it through your nose, you just get all these pronounced flavors. There's nothing harsh. It's beautiful tobacco and just a great blends.
Well, I just want to show them. Nice little
That's probably my favorite ashtray that we have.
That's the Ombre. He's great. All right, you just get a smoke with him. Yeah.
So tell me, what did you do before you decided to become a rep or your position in United?
Yeah, so I oversee operations for United Cigars on our distribution manufacturing side. So it started out, like I said, in 2016, but we were a small company. We weren't really selling anything nationally. So when I came on board, it was okay. Let's mostly focus on sales, and then it turned into the branding and the blending and the marketing. So I just kind of oversee the operations for United. We have some representatives on the road. We have Agnes, who's in our office. She does a lot of the we call her the account liaison, because she's touching on every account across the country, and then I just do a lot of the travel. So prior to this, I started smoking cigars, and it's going to date me, but 88. And then I started in the business in Las Vegas in 98. So I moved out to Las Vegas in 97. Just out of college, trying to figure out what to do. We moved out to Vegas, just me and a couple buddies, and I had a kind of design background, computer design background. So I was keeping myself busy, just doing brochures, business cards, and flyers, and I smoked cigars. So I thought, why not get a job at one of the local shops? I can get a discount. I can work in the shop. I can, have some fun in the off time. And that turned into a 14-year career with the company out there. And they're the ones that had partnered with Fuente and Ashton to open up Casa Fuente. And we had, at one point, 12 retail locations, I don't know how many, 200 wholesale accounts throughout the greater Las Vegas area and cigarette hostess program. So I worked with them for a long time. We opened up Rum Bar, and then they started to kind of switch. So Casa Fuente was the first introduction to a cigar bar for them, where all the other stores were just smaller, either satellite kiosks or stores in the casinos. So when they opened up Casa Fuente, then we opened up Rum Bar, and then in between there, they opened up Tacos and Tequila at the Luxor. So they started getting into more the hospitality side, and it turned into a long career with them. And then I moved back east and started up with United Cigars.
So now, are you living in the New York Metro, Philly area, Jersey, in that area?
No. I'm up in New Hampshire. So
you're 3.5 hours north of us.
Yeah.
Just about something like that.
So I gotta tell you, I was gonna smoke this cigar one day. I left it sitting here, and Joey goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Smoking." He goes, "Not that cigar. You're not smoking." I said, "Why?" He goes, "They told me to save it for the show." I said, So
makes sense.
And I gotta say, this is this Red Anchor, man. It's very tasty. It has a little hint of pepper.
I mean, I like the size of it.
I like the size. It's not too big. It's not too small.
That looks like you guys look like you got
by 42.
Yeah, that's the Gunner. You have cinder blocks for hands, so it looks like a small cigar in your hand. That could be the Commodore, but no, that's the Gunner, and that it represents the line well. But different sizes, different Vitolas kind of vary.
Right.
They can, and that one being a smaller ring gauge, that Gunner just it's surprisingly in your face, but just kind of delicate and subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then like I said, the retro just kind of opens it up even more.
Oh, it
does.
It tastes phenomenal.
You get like that bite from the pepper on that retro hail, and then like a little hint of like a coffee or an espresso.
And I'm gonna say, like everybody says, it tastes like some dirt is in there. And I say dirt because where does the leaves come from? The ground. So what do you get? Dirt. Everybody goes leaves. No, it's dirt, dummies.
But some of the best, some of the best days in the spring, and I can say this because we're on the East Coast, right? All the snow melts and it looks like death out there, right? Like the grass, like how's it going to come back? Everything's soaked, but then you get this earthy, soil smell sometimes, and that's that fresh dirt. Just smells so good.
And people always say, "Oh, it tastes earthy." I said, "Bro, what did you taste the grass?" Because when I smoke a cigar, it tastes like there's some dirt in there. Well, how can there be dirt in there? How do they grow your seeds?
Right.
They put them in the ground, and what comes from the ground? Dirt, weeds, grass, everything. But guess what? A lot of companies say it's earthy, and I tell them it's dirt.
Well, that's the technical term would be earthiness, because if you say dirt, it's gonna give like a weird connotation to the note or to the cigar, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Right. Right. Yeah, just like a lot of the descriptions, if it doesn't relate to you, it's hard to understand. Right. And the more descriptive you get, the harder it is that it pulls people away from it. Because you can get like a sweet, sweetness, but it's not a sugary sweet. But like leather can smell different throughout its age, right? Absolutely. An old vintage leather to a younger, leather has that sweet note. So yeah, it's that soil, earth, dirt. It's what it reminds you of. Like we've all run around in the, when we were younger, run around in the fields, in the playground, and we've had our face, jammed in the dirt because we were playing whatever.
Right.
That smell is what comes back, and that's what you think of as soil. Maybe, whatever. We all had that, different experience, and that's what you can relate it to. So it's hard to pick out, the notes for some to relate it to the way someone else will describe it. But if you can then kind of circle it back, and for you, it's soil, earth, however people want to describe it. You can make it fancy and be like, it tastes like August up in Maine on
it tastes like a brisk August afternoon or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it's like I tell people, your palate is different from mine. Mine is different from Joey's. Joey's different from yours.
100%.
However you want to taste it, you can taste. He can say there's pepper, there's salt, there's garlic in there. I'm not going to taste that. I got a different palate. You have a different palate.
Right.
So let me ask you this question, because we were sitting here and I was talking to somebody else. I heard a rumor probably last year or sometime last year. We heard it. Did you guys buy Amendola?
United Cigars?
Yes.
No.
Okay, that's all I need to know. So no, on the chat, wherever you are, they did
on the chat, recorded live at 16 minutes into the broadcast on March 1st, 2026. We did not buy Amendola. He's a great dude.
Well, we're trying to get him on. I'm talking to him, and I'm talking to San George now. So, we've been doing this 4 years, and in the first year was tough for us because it was 7 o'clock in the morning.
First couple of years were tough because it was 7 a.m.
We had a producer.
7 a.m. is a rough time slot.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, Saturday. We started out, I think, on Saturday and then moved to Sunday.
Yeah, 7 a.m. is a rough start.
I didn't even want to be up at 7 a.m. doing the show.
Right.
I was like, I don't even want to be up at 7 a.m. We used to have a lot of pre-recorded episodes because 7 a.m. was hard.
So tell us more about the cigars that you sent, and I have a couple here.
Like, I know I smoked, so I will say that when you first when we first got the package, I just smoked that the other day for the first time. The Atabey. I've never smoked Atabey before. And then I smoked the first one I smoked was the Bandoleros.
Man down.
That was the Atabey, yesterday was the first time
Atabey, guys.
I smoked that. That was actually a very flavorful Connecticut.
Yeah.
I found it to be very flavorful, and there wasn't a lot of, like, as I call it, the burn it didn't burn weird. It stayed consistent throughout, which I loved.
Right. You guys, I never want to assume, but I'll assume you're not vegetarians, right? Meat eaters?
No. I love my meat.
I love my meat.
Yeah. All right. So
pause.
So I only asked that because, growing up, I was of the era where, TV dinners became a big thing. So there was a Salisbury steak.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. Swanson and all that.
Swanson, Hungry Man.
Yeah.
Hungry Man, yep. Banquet, everybody's got them now.
Yeah. So a Salisbury steak is meat. And it's a good steak because it kind of fits a need.
Right.
That would be, for us, that would be our classic. That's our bundle. Because that's the introduction to, here's meat. It's not going to cost you a lot. It tastes good. It's covered in whatever if they call it gravy. It's covered in something. All right. And it was good. And then as you step up, your palate develops a little bit more. You want something, a little bit better. Have you guys ever had a dry aged steak or Kobe, like Kobe A1? No. Okay. So, and there's probably a reason, because you look at it and you're like, I'm not going to pay that much for that product. Right. So that would be the high end. And then in between you have the good ribeyes, and you have prime, and it just depends where you want to be. So Atabey is going to be more of that dry aged steak. So you're going to pay a little bit more. It's going to be higher price point, because Atabey and Bandolero and Byron, everything that Selected Tobacco does, they put their cigars through an aging process. Atabey's aged for a minimum of 5 years post roll, and it's a different aging process too. It's just a different aging. Like everybody, in the industry, and what I knew as aging before was, if I put a cigar in my humidor Yeah, the Byron. That Byron's aged for 5 years minimum post roll. So if I put a cigar in my humidor,
by the way,
you smoked which one?
I actually smoked the Gold Star. I have like 3 of them left, so I'm pacing on them.
Yeah. And that's that. So the Gold Star would be like a prime ribeye, right? Quality tobacco, great construction. Hopefully for you, right? There's always the one that you send and it's like, oh, it blew up on me, or it did this, or did that. It happens. But so that would be like a prime steak. So going back to like Atabey, Byron, Bandolero, the process that he puts his cigars through is unlike anyone in the industry, because he'll take the cigars, they're rolled in Costa Rica. He brings them back to Madrid, Spain, where they'll sit in an aging room with 5 different cedars. So he uses, and sometimes the blends change. He started using Peruvian cedar too, but it's typically Cuban, Spanish, Mexican, Brazilian, Lebanese cedars, all different percentages from ceiling to floor. And then he'll lower humidity and then raise it back up over the course of 5 years. So the cigar is actually shrinking when the humidity goes down. So it's purging any other impurities, to the point where it's almost, drying out, but not to the point where the leaves are drying out completely, if that makes sense. And then when he brings it back up to past 70, it's breathing in all the moisture that's been soaked up by the wood and then brought back into the humidor. So those flavor notes are going in, but it's not like a heavy cedar, right? But it's just very clean on the palate. The flavor notes and the characteristic of the cigar is more pronounced. So that's similar to like a dry aged steak. If you haven't had it or you've heard about it, it just has the flavor notes that are more pronounced, but everything just kind of subdued, like a Scotch, a whiskey. Right, a 12-year-old Macallan is very different from a 25-year-old Macallan. Right. The heat's kind of taken away, but all the flavor notes are pronounced. So that's the Atabey Byron.
On that note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Oliver from United Cigars.
I pledge my allegiance to her, from sea to shining sea. She held her torch to the sky to give the world liberty. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? What about love? In God we trust. These are the things they want us all to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? The people walk through the streets, holding up protest signs. Try not to repeat our history. Maybe no one will have to die. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? And what about hope? Trust God and let go. These are the phrases they want us to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? And right now we need a hero, someone who will stand and fight for
We are back. Happy Sunday, happy fun day. We are back with Oliver from United Cigars.
All right. So, because I noticed when you sent us the cigars, you had the Terra Nova, and there was two different sizes that we got sent. It was the Toro, and then I think like a 4.5 or a 3.5 by 58. I believe it was
a 3.5 by 58. So I may have sent the there was maybe it was a short Robusto.
3.9 by 54.
Yeah. So a short Robusto.
Yeah. So what? I've never
It's a good winter size.
I've never actually heard of that brand under the umbrella before.
Yeah. So Terra Nova folded into the United portfolio in 2022. So Terra Nova and Montosa. Montosa is another great one that is sub 10. It's actually sub $8, but made out of the Dominican Republic. So Arnold Andre is they're over 200 years old, but they were mostly known for how they started was machine made little cigarillos and smaller cigars. In 2012 is when they opened their factory in the Dominican Republic and introduced more premium lines to the international market.
Okay.
And they wanted to expand into the U.S. market, and that's where they came to us and they were looking for U.S. distribution. So Terra Nova is a line in the U.S. that is kind of the mirror, the sister of Buena Vista outside of the U.S. But Buena Vista was licensed or is licensed in the U.S. So it turned to Terra Nova, and Terra Nova comes in two blends. So they have the Araparique, which uses more Brazilian tobaccos, and then they have the dark fired Kentucky, which is just a subtle kind of smokiness. So it's not overly. It's like any of the peaty scotches. Yeah. It's a great. I think it's a great line. That's starting to gain some traction. Arnold Andre, when we started the distribution, they were just creating a whole new section in their factory for their premium cigar side. So they weren't completely ready to expand the market, but now they're in the U.S. But now their production levels have kind of met the exceeded the demand. So now they're ready to do a little bit more in the U.S. It's already a well-established brand in outside of the U.S. So they're happy. Yeah, that's our little promo United Cigar Lighter.
I like that.
You guys got a little. Yeah, it works great. The trigger on it's fantastic.
It is.
It's very good. So tell me, what made you right out of college, after you started smoking in 88, 90s, 91, 92, what made you want to be a cigar rep, a cigar aficionado, work for a company?
I think there was a passion behind it, right? I loved smoking cigars. My father still smokes cigars, and it was in the family. My background, all of my family's in Europe, in France. So I say all my family, but I have my two brothers here in the States. I have my parents here in the States, but everyone else is overseas. So going back for holidays, everyone's, my uncles were either smoking filterless, Gitan cigarettes or cigars. So I just kind of always, smelled it. I was around it. My father smoked cigars. So when I was 16, I grabbed my first cigar. And then when I moved out to Vegas, as I mentioned, I was already working, but I was kind of doing some freelance work because it was going from Boston to Vegas. Cost of living was more than half, right? Less than half of what I was paying in Boston. So I could afford to live in a house with my two buddies. We were paying $900 total for a 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
So we were living. We were trying to figure out, the directions we all wanted to go. I had the marketing background, so I started interviewing. I almost worked at the Mirage, but it was kind of too corporate for how I like to work.
Right.
And so like I said, I was just freelance. I was doing tray liners for Carl's Jr. Business cards, and because back then it wasn't as easy as it is now to get something done. You had to have somebody, graphic artist to put things together for you.
Right.
So I was doing flyers for local radio stations, and just keeping myself busy. And then wanted the part-time job at a cigar shop, and that's where it kind of evolved rapidly. I think I worked in one of the stores for, I don't know, within the first year I was managing one of their stores, because again I had a passion for it. I had the knowledge of it because I was reading a lot of the books that were out back then, on cigars and tobacco, and so it just rapidly turned into a full-time career. And then I went into the corporate office and started doing the marketing and web design, and it just turned into 14 years with the same company out there.
Wow. So
yeah.
Danny said Atabey Spiritus is one of my favorites.
Mm.
And then he said, but my Atabey all-time favorite is the Black Delirious. I have the humidor box. I think it was pretty limited.
Yes. So two things. Spiritus is the Lancero in the Atabey line. Fantastic. So if you like the Gunner, right? The Spiritus is going to be a little thinner ring gauge. It's a Lancero. This is a Lonsdale, but the Spiritus is it's just kind of it's turned into a fan favorite, I'll say, because it was a little more limited. All of Nelson's productions are pretty limited, and the Spiritus was just introduced just a few years ago. So when he is blending something new or a new size, it's a very limited production. Typically around 300 boxes. So very, very small. So when it released, we didn't know, and he wasn't sure if the U.S. market would accept the Lancero, because it's always been said that Lanceros are loved, but they're never purchased, right? You see a lot of retailers that will have one or two boxes, and they say, it's not a big mover for us. But then you do have some retailers that love a Lancero, and they have a wide selection. They do very well with it. So it's just not a big seller when you look at all the different sizes. Toro is number one, and then a distant second is Robusto, and then everything after that. So the Spiritus is fantastic. The Atabey Black was another one that was the first NFT release, and that was 2021, I think, right after COVID, we released the NFT, and it was conceptual. We just wanted to see what the market would say to an Atabey having a dark, Maduro wrapper on it, when it was just known for this lighter Ecuadorian Connecticut shade. So we did the NFT, and but we did it very differently. Well, our Atabey Black NFTs were sold for $1,200, which was at the time the cost of a box of Atabey Black. So it wasn't this purchasing a license so that you could have it for the future at these very elevated prices like some of the other NFTs. And those companies did a great job with it. They just did it very differently. And when we released the NFT, it was just completely unknown. I had just come back from a weekend and heard about all these NFTs being sold for 300, 400, however many thousands of dollars. So I said, well, why don't we do this NFT for Atabey Black? Because Nelson had come to us about the Atabey Black Ritos and said, hey, I'm kind of working on this. What do you think the market would think? It's not going to be ready for a few more years. And how do you market something that's only 300 boxes, one size of a new blend? So that's where the NFT idea came up. And the Atabey Black originally, when it launched, was only 300 boxes. So it went to our branded lounges and the NFT holders. So it is very, very limited.
Let me ask you this. So we go to JR's in Paramus.
Paramus. Yeah.
And how do you decide what goes into what shop and what licenses you need in order to do that?
I wish we could decide, but we do a little bit. I wish we could decide if the retailer is going to be allowed to carry stuff, but the retailers, that's their domain. They decide what they want to carry and what they don't, and we present it. So for us on our portfolio, because Atabey, Byron, the Nelson and the Alfonso are in such limited productions, those we just kind of have to hold because we don't want to get into the the chase game where we open up 300 accounts, we have 300 boxes, and then everybody gets a limited amount, and then it's sold out or it's back ordered and they won't see it for another year. So we try to limit the accounts and we try to manage them properly. And there are some that JR shop we don't do any business with them currently, but it's not always, I don't want to say by choice, but we try to align ourselves with the right retailers, and retailers try to align themselves with the right product that's going to sell on the shelf. So we're heavily focused on brick and mortar. We don't do a lot of business or any business with the big online discounters. So we try to do our part to maintain the integrity of the brands, right, and keep those price points so that brick and mortar can survive. Because we all need. Look, you guys, it looks like you have a nice little lounge and you can smoke. You're not in a shop, but and I think I heard you on one of your other shows. You're saying, yeah, you can't always get to a lounge, and sometimes you just want to smoke, right? But going to a lounge and interacting with other cigar smokers and networking for whatever businesses we have or we're in, there's a lot to say about that. Like, that holds weight. Right? We can't just all smoke by ourselves. So the more we're just focused on, I'm going to buy this because it's at a great deal, or this is a closeout, well, then that hurts the brick and mortar. And if we don't have the brick and mortar to support, then it's going to be a challenge for all of us.
So now, do you do anything with anybody in like New Jersey, like what's her name?
Cigar World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hina.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, Hina's great. She's been a supporter of ours for a number of years, and she's got the firecracker. She's got all the Atabey Alfonso. She's got some classic in there. She's got firecracker. I think she's got United, Red Anchor. So
I think she's got the Gold Star too.
And Gold Star, yeah. She's got.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that in there. So now the firecracker. How did you essentially come up with them, and how did you get it to where you can partner with like McAuliffe and JFR and the other companies? Did you guys approach them? Did they approach you? How did those partnerships come about?
Yeah, so the firecracker was kind of an original in 2006 by David Garofalo. It was an in-store exclusive at first, and was released in 2007 as the firecracker with at the time with Pepin. So that's why you'll see like the old bands. It was just the Pepin blue band on it, the original. And then the first collaboration started was in 2010. That was with Tatuaje. And then it wasn't really established as a cigar that was going to have a yearly collaboration until 2015, where LFD was, I think, the first collaboration. And that was, so it depends. Like, sometimes we approach the manufacturer, and we've been approached by manufacturers. So it just, if it can fit, if it can work, then we'll work together. So from LFD, it went to Roma Craft, and we've done Christoph, Perdomo. You mentioned we did the Lunatic.
There was one,
and McAuliffe this year.
The Irish Car Bomb one you guys did too.
Yeah, the Irish Car Bomb.
Yeah, I remember that because that was
right there, bro.
I think that was like my first introduction into the firecrackers, because we had went and bought, I forget where, I think I'd bought like a bundle, which was like the 4 or 5 packs or whatever.
A 5-pack.
And they were fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
They were good. I enjoyed it, and it was my first introduction into that really short size.
Right.
And
so that,
and from there out, it became a sought out thing that I've looked for. Every time it releases, like the Lunatic one, I didn't get, but that's okay.
right.
But there's been other ones that I've gotten my hands on that have, again, I guess it's because of the size would be one of the reasons why a lot of them are so good, because it compacts all the tobacco into a very short smoke.
Right. Yeah, it's always these collaborations that we do. So the Irish Car Bomb was a St. Patrick's Day exclusive. That was not a collaboration. That was internal, and that was just a project that I wanted to do, and that was met with a lot of pushback because of the name being the Irish Car Bomb. And I even spoke to one of the guys there's an organization here, and they try to just bring light to the situation, and I pleaded ignorance as just a stupid American that gets the Irish Car Bomb at every single bar in America during St. Patrick's Day. Right, and it's sponsored by the Irish whiskey and Irish cream, right? So, and an Irish Guinness, right? So I said, look, it's just based on that, but I can understand and I can sympathize, and it's a one-time run where we're not going to do it again, so we understand. But the Irish Car Bomb was kind of a start into us doing our own special editions. But then, we do other special editions, and sometimes, like I said, we approach the manufacturer, and sometimes they'll approach us. But we did like the Elote firecracker with Rojas. That was the street corn to go along with their street tacos, and that was for Cinco de Mayo. And so we're always working with different manufacturers, and it's a way for them to have a good representation of their line, but make it into obviously the firecracker format, but also give it that firecracker punch. But it's their packaging, it's their blend, so it's a representation of them. But it's just a way for both sides to kind of get into the market and let people know that, hey, that we got something unique and something special.
And it starts a working relationship with you guys for maybe something down the line, to do more together as well. And I think that's what a lot of people miss is, when you see collaborations like that, or other collaborations throughout the industry. I think what people miss is it's not because that company wasn't good enough to do it, or it's because it starts a good established working relationship that down the line, instead of a firecracker, you might be able to do another run of cigars in a different size with that company as well.
So now let me ask you this question. You said there's no more Irish Car Bombs, right?
Correct.
You have to be very lucky to find them.
Where can I find some? Can you help me?
Probably can't.
If I come across one at some retailer, I'll let you know. But those the collaborations, those limited releases, sometimes we'll do 1,000, 2,000 boxes, and that's it. Now, with that said, if the manufacturer sees value, because to be honest, on our side and the manufacturer side, it's not a cash grab at all. It's and it's not even a money maker. To be honest, that is just, it's a marketing tool, right? So you can spend money, put it into a one-page ad in whatever publication, or you can do it with cigars. So we do it with this collaboration style because it gets people to talk about it, and then people search for it and they hunt for it, and it's a limited edition. So we do it. So if it makes sense for the manufacturer and it makes sense for us, meaning, on our side, we have to sell it. We're the exclusive distributors of any collaborative firecracker. So if it was something that moved fast and the retailers were accepting of it, and the manufacturer wants to do it again, we'll do it. The Mi Querida firecracker, and the Perdomo Foundation one as well, and Bandolero we're relaunching in the fall. But so the Mi Querida started with the blue band, and it was a Mi Querida firecracker. The next year they wanted to do it again, but they did it. They tweaked the blend and they put the Mi Querida with a red band on it instead of the blue. And then the third year it turned into Tricky Tracka.
Okay.
So it turned into a line extension for him. So it worked for him. It worked for us. Fratello, we only did one run, but it worked well for him that they ended up doing their own separate line without the fuse on it, but they have that Vitola out on the market at 3.5 by 50 now, because it worked for their blend, it worked for their customer base, right. And retailers were accepted, so they continued it. Perdomo was just a successful release for us. So and the Perdomo family too, being who they are, and they're always ahead of the game. They had produced more than what we requested because they knew that they were going to do it again. They felt it was going to be successful, so they already started producing more for the following year. So we did a second release with that one as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking
the one I haven't tried that I wanted to try that I forgot to pick up was the McAuliffe one. Yeah,
the McAuliffe Black.
Yeah.
So that was just released last year. That was another great one.
Because that's another brand that I thoroughly enjoy as well. And to see when I see you guys do that, I was like, oh, I'm like, well, I know that has to be good because I had, like your box pressed regular United cigar, and then I had tried, I forget which other one throughout. Actually, I think that might have been the only one. I could be wrong.
So the box, if you had the box pressed, that was the original. Like there was the original United that was box pressed, and it had the old United shield on it, and it had this more of a. It was like a distressed band kind of,
right.
And that was box pressed. And then that turned. We updated the packaging, and it was still box pressed. But then we were having a hard time sourcing, some of the tobaccos that we used. Brazilian Matafina being the main component. And so we had to change the blend. And when we were changing the blend, I'd smoked a few in the round, not box pressed, and just felt it was great. Plus, at that time, we had done the Aladino box pressed in our cigar bar, and it just kind of turned into the United turned into a round cigar in the round as opposed to box pressed moving forward. So yeah, if you had the box press, that's old.
That was one of the first ones I think I ever had from you guys, and then throughout the years, it's I think I had smoked the Bandolero maybe once or twice that somebody had given me, and then there were lines that like I didn't know you guys were, there was that you guys had so many different lines under your portfolio.
Right. Yep.
Like I had seen the Yaya, I had never smoked it, but I seen it. I didn't know you guys distributed that or you guys make that. Like there's so many lines, and it's too everybody. Certain companies have so much under their umbrella that sometimes you don't even realize that you're smoking a United cigar, you're smoking a General cigar because it's a brand like, the Terra Nova is a little lesser known brand. And then you have like I've seen the La Mezcala Cubana. I've seen that before. I've never smoked it until you had sent it, and I thought it was a great cigar.
At $6, well, and I don't know what it is in New York, but it's a $6 retail. Now New York has a high tobacco tax that consumers need to understand. Yeah, it's not the retailer that's trying to just get more money. It's that 75% tax. So New York, you have to battle that as a consumer and the retailer, which they are. There's a good, great organization that's fighting that as well. But the La Mezcla Cubana is a cigar that has received higher ratings than even our Atabey in the past. Like Atabey, we had received some 90, 88s, and but everyone that smokes it, consumer-wise and retailer-wise, they love it. But a lot of the ratings, they also then they mention the price point, and they say, well, we don't use the price point as a factor, but and then they talk about it. So, but La Mezcla Cubana got a 90 in half wheel. So it's a great little smoke.
And you brought up price point, which is a big thing, because sometimes like I strayed away from brands like the Byron and the Atabey and stuff like that because of the price point. And again, that's not a knock on the brand themselves.
Correct.
I always say that the price point is not a knock. Me not buying it is not a knock on the brand.
Right.
It's just I didn't want to pay that much, and again, that's just me.
Right.
But having smoked it, having smoked the Atabey, it's not something that now smoking it, it might be something that I might go in and buy every so often.
Right.
Because I've smoked it now. I know what it's like, and I know that I'm not getting, because I've bought cigars that are expensive that I felt when I smoked it, I wasted my money.
Right. 100%. Even at the $10 range.
Right. And that's why sometimes, like, when I see those higher price points, I'm like, I can't, because once you've been let down one too many times by the higher price points, it's like, why am I going to keep spending money on expensive cigars like that to turn around and just be disappointed when I smoke it?
Right. Yeah, we've been tricked as consumers so many times that it's hard.
On that note, we got to
take a quick commercial break.
Oh, got it. You got it.
What you got, why you got it good. Always just a little misunderstood, but I never tried to change you, even when you're drunk all day. Every time you break, it breaks my heart. Watching you drown yourself and fall apart. You're killing yourself, and it's killing me to have to say. Though it hurts so much, 'cause I love you. You were my best friend. You were my muse. The story with a good end. My rhythm blues. You were my soulmate. A damaged man. And I paid for it. As much as I think I can. And I thought in the end you would miss me. But I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. I've heard it only hurts 'cause you love so deep, letting you go after all the cheap shots you take of me and Jameson. Your daddy don't help, no, he feeds you lies, and you're wondering why you can't sleep at night in the bed I made. Oh, I thought you were the one, 'cause you were my best friend. You were my muse. The story with a good end. My rhythm blues. You were my soulmate. A damaged man. And I paid for it. As much as I think I can. And I thought in the end you would miss me. But I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. Oh, it hurts so much 'cause I love you. And you were my best friend. You were my muse. The story with a good end. My rhythm and
And we're back.
Powerful. Powerful. I heard that song on one of your other shows. And I guess that was
yeah, they work. I believe she does a lot of songs like that. We have a few from her. She also too. I know they work with a lot of veteran music artists because that's the station we work with is a veteran-owned radio station.
NBR Radio.
yeah, that and that line, I guess I wasn't stronger than the whiskey. Like, man, love it.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's great. It's great.
Your price points on some of your cigars that you sent us on the cart. Show them the cart.
Like I know we spoke about like the Atabey and the Byron and the Alfonso being like the higher end price point. Now the Red Anchor, I gotta ask because I've seen it on different websites for sale at different prices. What's the price point on these cigars?
So Red Anchor should be right, like that Gunner should be right at the $20 price point.
Okay.
The Captain is the Robusto. That should be 20. Right around there. Now you go to a brick and mortar and they do something special for box purchase. All right, we allow that, but we try to protect it. So even our retail partners that have an online presence, we try to protect that price point.
Right.
Because we know online sales are going to happen. Right. They have to. Because we don't have access to some don't have access to a retailer within an hour of them, right? New Jersey, you're saturated, right there. You got a bunch of great shops all around. But yeah, some cigar smokers don't have that access, so they have to purchase online. So that's why we try to protect it the best we can.
Talking about Dave Garofalo, however you say his last name.
He's not good with names.
He's always,
that was it. You nailed it.
Always with my buddy Matty Rocks.
Yeah.
What is up with Dave? Is he a distributor for you? What does he do?
So David Garofalo started Two Guys Smoke Shop 40 years ago. So he started as a retailer, and then throughout the years, he's built that into. He has his podcast, the Cigar Authority. He's got Two Guys Smoke Shop. Then he started to develop different brands, for his retail side that we folded into United, and then from there, I've expanded a few. But David Garofalo is an absolute workhorse. Always trying something new.
Is he like part of United? Is he CEO or?
So he owns Two Guys and he owns United, and then I run that United side of the business.
Shout out to you, Dave Garofalo. You need to come on our podcast.
It's kind of cool that he's got a, not only does he own United, but he also has essentially like a brick and mortar shop that you could probably get all the United lines in, I would assume.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
So
he's got a wrestling background. He was a wrestler.
What? Whoa! Time out, coach. Time out.
Yeah.
Was he a professional wrestler or was he an amateur wrestler?
I mean, he wasn't. He was around during the times of the Superfly Schnuckers and the Hulk Hogan's, but I don't think he ever made that stage.
Oh, so he was.
I know he never made it. So
he was around when I was in a business,
the independent wrestling side.
So he was on the independent side of wrestling with me.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That's very interesting because I'm trying to get some guys on here now because people are complaining because all we're talking is cigars. But listen,
like I told people, it's hard to get wrestlers on.
It's hard to get guys on after their match or before their match, or because I'm gonna be honest with you, and Joey will tell you this because he's done it with me once, twice. He's done it with me twice. And after a show, I walk out, I sign autographs, but when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back to the hotel. I'm ready to go back, have a beer, have a cigar. We went back after a show, Oliver, and he goes, I gotta go in the room. I said, okay, you go in the room. I'm gonna sit out here. I popped a couple of medications, sat outside with a bottle of Jack at a hotel.
it was a fun. I will say it's fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
We're gonna get arrested, but we had a blast.
That was a whole nother
I mean,
issue.
you know,
beside the
that's
point,
a
but-
that you know. It's
no,
funny.
I mean it's that's what I try to explain to people is it's tough, you know, because after your show, you either want to go, you know, you sign your autographs in the parking lot, whatever, and then you want to go back to your hotel and you just want to unwind. You want to go shower, you want to
100%.
smoke a cigar, eat your dinner, go to sleep, whatever you want to do. You don't want to, you know, sit down and have conversations with people. Like after the 2 shows I did, I went back to the hotel. I didn't touch my phone.
Yeah.
You know, like I called people who called, hey, are you all right? Everything okay? I'm good. Don't worry. I made it out okay. We're fine. I'm in one piece. I'll talk to you when I get home.
You know, like
and that was how it was.
I did a show for the late, great Tony Rumble, God rest his soul, in Ogdensburg, New York. I took my neighbor with me because he was the only one available. My son wasn't born yet. We get up to the place. We get there. I said, where's the video camera? Oh, it's in the car. Why is it in the car, dopey? Oh, you didn't. I don't have to. You're with me. Grab the video camera. You're videoing me. Get the video camera. Let's go. Grabs the video camera. We do our thing. We get back. I said, bro, we're going back to the hotel. Okay, we'll go back to the hotel. I'm with all the boys. They're like, Dave, we need some beer. I said, bro, if you didn't look out the back door, there's a shop that has beer sitting outside. How do you know? I said, come on, man. This is me, man. I'm from downstate.
You could sniff it out.
I'm from downstate New York. So how do we get that beer?
I just don't understand how a bar leaves cases of beer outside their
First of
their
all,
building.
they said, how do we get that beer? I said, well, there's 5 of us. How about we each just go grab a box? Well, what do you mean? I said, just go grab a box of fucking beer and come back to the hotel. What, are you going to miss it? They'll write it off. They'll call a company tomorrow. They're having a whole truckload.
Right.
I said, bro, I'm going to grab some beer. I don't know about you, but I'm going to grab some beer. I went and grabbed the beer. My buddy went and grabbed the beer. And we get back to the hotel, and the owner, Tony Rumble, goes, what is wrong with you guys? I said, what do you mean? They go, he goes, how did you get this beer? I said, why are you asking me questions, bro? I said,
you fell out the back of a truck.
I said, I had a truck pull up. He goes, you're in way upstate. You're 3.5 hours from your house. You don't know anybody up here. I said, whoa, calm down there, killer. I said, I know a lot of people. He goes, fuck it, let's just drink. So we started drinking, and everybody goes, bro, I said, what, are you going to arrest me? What, are you going to come and say you got to pay? Okay, so I'll pay for it. I give him my fucking till that I made tonight. Tony, just pay the beer. We'll take care of it later. But listen, things happen. You do what you got to do. It's like, you know, I was watching a thing today on TikTok where this guy, dummy, walks into a cigar lounge, doesn't know it's video cameraed, walks out with 3 cigars in his pocket.
Yep.
Of $150 or more. 3. One cigar was 100. What cigar is $150 fucking dollars?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I've seen price points like that, and it's
charging me for a box?
Yeah.
Because I know there's only one cigar, and Tony Atlas does the bodyguard for that.
No, that's more than 150.
That's Rocky Patel, and that's
that's not Rocky Patel.
Who is it?
It's Daniel Marshall.
Daniel Marshall. That's like a $5,000 cigar.
That 24 karat gold cigar.
Yeah.
That's wrapped in the edible gold or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's gonna pay that kind of money for a cigar?
Believe it or not, you'd be surprised.
Are you gonna buy that, Oliver? Because I'm not buying that.
Myself personally, it doesn't fit now, and I haven't, because I know it's been on the market for a while. I haven't, but would I do it just to try to figure it out? I might, but I can't smoke that. I know my budget. I can't smoke that all the time. Right. And that goes with the Atabey. Same thing. There are some people that they're smoking that on a regular basis. There are some guys that are buying that, a box a month.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they can. I don't want to say afford, but that's what they can roll into. their daily expenditure for cigars.
But it's funny, Oliver, like you say, when you go into a cigar lounge, me and Joey show up and we'll look at and I say the cheap side. When I say the cheap side, I don't mean $5.
No, I sit between
$8 to $15 is what we
even sometimes between.
20. When I retired, I said, Joey, let's go to cigar shop.
Even
we
that
went to the
$8 to
cigar
$20
shop.
range is about the max I'll spend.
We went to the cigar shop and we went to Buttheads. I don't know if you know Buttheads.
Yeah, I know Buttheads. Yeah.
We went to Buttheads. I said, Kevin, give me.
And that would be the only guy that might have the Irish car bombs left. If there's any in existence, he'd be the only guy that has them.
Matter of fact, I'm going to text
He'd be the only person that would have them in stock if he's got any left.
Because I'll say to him, Kev, here's what I want. We were at the shop and I bought some loose La Gloria Cubanas, and we left. And
this is really good.
I said to him, "Damn." I said to Joey,
I love this. This is
fucking phenomenal.
Now I can definitely see the price point on it being worth it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not overly priced,
and it's fucking delicious.
But for that price point, this is probably one of the better $20 cigars you're gonna get. I've smoked quite a few, and there's a few that rank up there, but this is definitely. If anybody out there hasn't tried the Red Anchor, because I've heard great things about it before
we contacted you.
Yeah, when they first came, when they first came out again, or whoever, I had heard a lot about them, and then people were saying they're good. They're like, you got to try them, and then I would go on and look, and I'm like, I don't know, and then but because I would look and I'm like, oh, I got to buy that, and then I would find 5 other things I got to buy, and then I'd forget. I told people, I'm like, there's brands and companies I've been meaning to try. I said, and then I go on, I look for them, and then I see something else from somebody else. I'm like, oh, let me get that, and let me get this and this, and then I forget to go back to that brand that I originally went looking for. Let's go back to you when you first started smoking your very first cigar. And I asked all my guests this because I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember my first cigar I smoked. Do you remember your very first cigar that you ever smoked?
So from what I remember, right, because this was at a time where I couldn't buy cigars. The first box that I bought, because I lived in New York City for a year when I was 15, and I had this fake ID so we could get into some of the music venues, and so it said I was 18. So then I moved back to Massachusetts, and I had an ID that said I was 18. So I went into I think it was a Walgreens, and I bought it was a 50 count box of Sweeties. This just machine made crap that we brought. But I think the first cigar that I actually smoked was, from again what I remember, was a Fuente, because it was in my dad's humidor that I had to pillage out. And I think it was from what I remember, it was the little probably like the Chateau, right? That short, right? The short Robusto. So that, in my memory, that's the first one that I remember smoking.
That had to be from his father. That wasn't from Junior. That was from probably his father.
Back then, that was 88.
Now let me ask you this, because I like to ask this too. What is your favorite style of cut for your cigar, and do you prefer a torch, a soft flame, matches?
Yeah, so
what are your preferences?
I'm mostly a straight cut, and typically, like when I travel, I'll bring like a little pocket knife that I have to check in, but usually check in a bag anyway because I'm traveling for events and lounges, and so I use like a little knife just to kind of cut away the top, and it kind of it slows things down, but for the most part it's a straight cut. And as far as the style of light, the soft flame, I don't go to matches. It used to be matches, but that was before all the these beautiful lighters started coming out. So I would go to a soft flame, but then the soft flame started to just be a challenge. So now if I can have just a single torch, and that's why I like that, that little United, it's a barbecue lighter, and it's a little, but instead of, that's basically like, any the Bics, it's just I don't want to call it cheap because it's ours, but it's a cheap, just a little, it's made of plastic, but it's a great lighter, single torch, single flame, and the trigger is great. So if I can have a single torch, because I can have more control of where that flame is going as opposed to 2, 3, 4. I've seen some with 5, which is crazy. But yeah, single flame torch.
You see our episode with the lighter.
But even now I'm using the single flame.
I'm using this. This is what I've been using.
Yeah.
So because the reason, and it's funny, we're bringing up the lighters. Like I brought it up before, but we had John Huber on from Crown Heads.
Right. I had to think.
He had sent us a Bic lighter with his logo and branding on it. So naturally, I asked the question of what made you do that, and then he explained that in the factories, like when he would go down with E.P. Carrillo and Jaime Garcia and all those guys, they would all use Bic lighters in the factories. So to him, he said in his mind, and it made sense, if they're using it, why can't I use it? Or what? He basically kind of posed the question of, if that's what they're using, why are we using torches and they're using this? What's the difference? And then he asked them, and he said they told him that the torches can affect the taste of your cigars.
100%. It's like you guys, yeah.
Once he said that, I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. And then, I switch off. I do matches, torch lighter. I do Bic lighters. It just depends. Like I'll go through a phase where I'll only use a Bic lighter, and then I'll go through phases where, for however long I'll use, torch lighters. But I guess the Bic lighters are easier because you can buy them anywhere.
So now let me ask you this question, Oliver. So have you been to any factories?
Yes. Yeah. Mostly in the Dominican, because we're like KBF, where we manufacture the Red Anchor. So that one, several times because we're working on the blend, on the cigar, and then I go down on a regular basis. I was just I was in Santiago. It was last week. Yeah, the week before for Pro Cigar. I was down there, and then went to the factories for our production. So Magia Cubana makes our United and Firecracker. Tobacco William Ventura makes our Gold Star. So I go to all the factories, and then before, when I was more on the retail side, I had gone to several of the factories of LFD, Fuente, and everybody just because that's yeah.
So if Joey and I wanted to do cigars, how many cigars do we need to do? Or not just us, but anybody out there in the TV world or YouTube or whatever channels we're on wants to do cigars with you. How does that work?
So you mean if you want to make like a private label, like a Turnbuckles and Stogies? Yeah. So every factory will have a different MOQ for their production. And then it depends on the factory. Depends on the tobacco that you're using, like the availability. Because if you're just doing a one-time production, but on the whole, I would say it's you're looking at about 200 boxes. So say is that 4,000, 5,000 cigars. But again, it depends on the factory. You can find some smaller, they call it chinchalas that'll maybe make something for you guys, or they might have something that's already a blend that they've used, or that they maybe it's the one that they smoke they say, yeah, I can put this into production.
So now, real fast, what do you think of factory farm outlet, the warehouse for
you're talking cigars, about like the
farm factory?
It's like farm roll. They call them farm roll. It's basically like you can go on and create your own brand through them and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, it might be a blend that they have. Like, how deep do you want to get into it? That's why I can't take anything away from the blender. So to say that was I a part of the blending for Red Anchor Yes, more so, and more so on Gold Star, where I can try the different components that are going in. But it's just like us when we go to a restaurant and we're the consumer, and we order a cheeseburger, say, and we're like I want pickles on mine, but I want grilled onions and I want some jalapenos, right? Because I want a little bit of spice. But you might, they might say, well, with this particular meat, you can't really take the jalapenos. You're better off with, banana peppers because that vinegar will come out more and it will shine. So they're really the ones that, because they're dealing with the tobaccos on a regular basis. I might go down to Dominican, 3-4 times a year. That's not enough to really decipher every single bale from every single year crop, right? To understand what's going to go in, because this year's crop of tobacco X is not going to be the same as last year's, right? So they can then handle the percentages. But would you be able to, could they send you samples, which is more common now, or they'll send you 5 samples of 5 different blends, and you're like, yeah, I like blend 2 and 4. Can you do something in between, and then you settle on 3, right? That's very common. So yeah,
now let me ask you this: as we're winding down. What new projects do you guys have coming out? Are you re-releasing anything like that people can expect from you guys this year?
Yeah, so we announced, and I'm very excited. We partnered with Arnold Andre because we're all celebrating the 250th anniversary of America, and Arnold Andre being a company that's over 200 years old. We partnered with them for our Independence Firecracker, which it's their line that they sell outside of the U.S. And we blended it into a premium cigar to be the Firecracker for this year's release. It's a very special tin box that when you turn it over can become an ashtray for you, so you can repurpose it. So it's a fun project, and that should ship to our Firecracker retailers in June to celebrate the 4th of July. And then we're re-releasing the Bandolero Firecracker in the fall. So nice. So we have some good stuff coming. And when I was just down in the Dominican, we have some projects that I don't know if they'll come out by the end of this year, but by next year we'll have it out.
Well, listen, my brother, we appreciate you taking the time.
For coming on. We apologize
from your family, from your family.
We apologize
whatever
for
you're doing.
No worries. Yeah, and listen, one thing I wanted to touch on, because you guys said it's a veteran-owned radio station. All of our United boxes come with a star from a flag that can no longer be flown, and those are sent to a foundation called Stars for Our Troops. And veterans will cut out the stars, and then we place one inside of every single one of our United boxes. So we donate back to the foundation. And then it's just to bring awareness and give thanks to first responders and veterans, but that's in every single one of our United boxes. And Gold Star, I'm not a veteran, but I have friends that are currently serving or are veterans, and a veteran friend gave me the star years ago, and I always held on to it, and it was something special, so I wanted to add it to the boxes. And Gold Star was originally released in 2023 as a limited production, and we helped raise over $30,000 for the Navy SEAL Gold Star family. So that's a special line for us as well.
That's awesome.
That's cool, my brother.
No, that's very cool, and the fact that you were able to work in, incorporating the stars into all the boxes, is a big thing, and especially supporting the veterans. Obviously, we working with the veteran-owned station. They do a lot for the veterans as well.
And not only that, my dad was a veteran. My uncle was a veteran. My brother was a veteran. My nephew's a veteran. My other brother was a veteran. So, listen, shout out to all you veterans out there.
Amen.
Everybody in the cigar world. We take our hats off to you. Oliver, thanks for coming on.
Boys, thank you.
Definitely would love to have you back on again.
With something else.
Maybe see when the next event is by us, and maybe get to meet you in person, or just come up there.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get Hina to let's do a little barbecue outside when everything thaws out.
I mean, it's not a big parking lot, but there's room to do it.
Oh, we can do it out there. Listen, I'll show up with my tent.
There's
we can
room
put
to do
that
it
out
for
there.
sure.
We'll make it happen.
Oliver, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, boys.
Family. I hope everybody's well. Take care.
All right, enjoy.
The Turnbuckles
God
and
bless.
Stogies Pod. Check us out on all the streaming networks. Check out MBR Radio, BAMF, United Cigars, and look in the bottom of the complex, and you'll see us all. Peace.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.